with providing Pega partners with the information that they need in sales, technical, and industry domains. Today's session will be covering Pega Government Platform, PGP, with Ramasamy Subash. Some quick housekeeping. We're going to be recording this session and it will be available for later viewing. If you prefer not to be recorded, please feel free to drop from the call and you can watch it later. The link will be made available to everybody. Before we get to PGP, just a quick reminder, Pega World is coming soon and sooner than you think, June 9th. And to that end, if you haven't registered yet or you need extra passes, now is a great time. In March, we're having a flash sale and it's going on right now through March 29th. You're going to see some great savings on both individual and team passes. Individual passes are $200 off, and a team pass that includes 5 registrations is going to be $1,000 off. So go to pegaworld.com for all the details and to make sure you're registered for Pega World. Also, the Alliance ecosystem has a couple of other webinars coming up soon. The first is on Wednesday, March 20th at 11 a.m. It's an exciting pre-launch overview on the upcoming Pega Infinity 24.1 release and will be given by Evan, Anthony, Rebecca, and Nishant. The second is on Thursday, April 4th at 11 a.m., and it will cover our play on healthcare with adaptive AI. Information on these webinars, and really all the information that you need to be a Pega partner, can be found on the Pega Partner portal at partners.pega.com. Okay, so let's get to why we all logged in today and go to Rams. Rams, please take it away.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you so much. Today we are going to go through Pega Government Platform and its benefits, features, roadmap, and enablement. We'll go through, we have a packed agenda in terms of what we want to cover, what we want to tell as features and takeaways in terms of enablement, in terms of roadmap. I think we go through a good set, and then we'll kick it off. So what are the different government business areas we see in the market today, and where does PGP play, right? PGP is a very horizontal application that is offered by Pega, and it is offered in different areas. So government strategies today we have in investigative case management, be it law enforcement, child welfare, fraud, waste, abuse type of investigative case management. You also see in different areas like program management, and the programs could be regulatory programs, it could be benefit programs, immigration programs, grants programs, and different type of program management. And of course, citizen engagement is a key part of our government business. So where you see constituents, 311, and that type of constituent-centric type of citizen services type of solutions. Another big area that we see a lot these days on implementations is onboarding. It could be government employee onboarding or military onboarding or recruitment. It's on different sets. Additionally, there is another bucket around inspections, audits, field services type of approach. These are different domains within government business areas. Right? Government itself is a vertical, but even then, as a horizontal, it's got various different domains, various different business areas as we go along. Yeah. So where does PGP fit in? So PGP pretty much utilizes the power of the Pega platform. So Pega platform has got various channels, process automation, case management. It's got like services, connectors, a lot more around Gen AI, a lot of other capabilities coming from the core platform. So PGP is an application that is built on top of the Pega platform, and it has 3 basic pillars. It has the pillars around government data models. It has the pillar around the reusable components that you can use it in your business use cases, business case types. And then it also has some government case types as well. And we will go a little more deeper into each one of these areas. So when we talk about government data model, PGP offers very simple constructs, which is around people, place, and things. So there is always a construct around every government project deals with a person or a citizen or a business or a vendor, right? I think that is a model inside PGP. And also the aspects of facilities, vehicles, items, right? It's around the things aspect of things. And that is also modeled inside PGP. Another important piece of all these government solutions that you have seen during implementation, you will see the concept of relationships and associations, which is a key aspect of our data model that is offered as part of the PGP government model as well. Into the second bucket, this is the interesting construct of how PGP has configured its solutions. It provides a lot of reusable components to cater towards different business use cases, different business domains. Like when I say reusable components, these are business-friendly, feature-oriented components. Like in almost every government application, let's say we take about like applying for a license. So you come in and you want to apply for a license. There is a set of requirements for that program to say these are the documents you need to upload. So the document intake itself is a component that is available for business to configure what type of documents do you need. And on the other side, whenever you build your own apply for license or apply for certificate type of case type, you can use these components as a step in your process, as a step in your case lifecycle. Very similar constructs. The reusable components like checklist, it's a very useful one. It could be done for the intake, or it could also be done by a caseworker. A caseworker comes in, he has a list of inspection checklists. For example, he's going through the inspection on the field, and he's got a checklist. So you can configure a checklist in PGP, and that gets consumed on your case lifecycle when you build an inspection case type, so as a step in the process. Very similar, there are more other components like assessments or action plans, where you have a set of action plans that you want to take on a child welfare investigation situation, for example, right? You have a care manager, you have an action plan to put the family to safety. You want to kind of go through a safety assessment, a family assessment. You have a set of steps to go into the foster care. So there could be an action plan that's coming out of a business use case. But what PGP really offers is the functional component that you can plug and play into your case type that you are building in your implementation life cycles. Yeah. And similarly, there are other components like conducting an interview or capturing evidences or managing time for a caseworker. As he's working on different cases, you want to manage time. You want to log time against the cases. Right? These are different components, and even like request for information is a very common one, where you want to come in and you want to request for information, you are missing some information. I'm sure this is going to be coming across almost in every use case that you run into, right? So these are different components, and you can think about these components as intake style components versus a case reviewer style of components, and you use it in your process. So that's the first two buckets. The first two buckets deals with government data model. The second bucket deals with reusable components. And now the third bucket deals with around program configurator. So which is the ability provided for the business people to come in and define their own policies, define their own programs, like in terms of how long is this benefit program going to be available? Who is it available for? And what type of documents do we need? What is the evaluation criteria for these? What's the eligibility for these? And then it goes through an authoring process to define this program. And once the program is available, PGP offers a generic application request case type that can consume the definitions of these programs. So the generic application request case type will consume the definitions of these programs, like the grants program. When you come in and apply for a program, this would be the case type. The expectations or the vision from our product team is primarily to have this as extensions, so you can extend the application request case type, introduce your additional processes, plus you can give your business the power of defining their program, and you can introduce new programs in a matter of minutes or time. I think so it's quick and done to introduce programs. But of course, you will have a basic foundational work that you have to do to extend these type of configurations, extend your case type, so that you can have the ability to bring your programs to life pretty quickly and serve your citizens on time. Right. The last bucket is around investigative case management. This is a core set of PGP feature which allows you to initiate an incident and conduct an investigation as a complete government case management solution here. So, but pretty much what the investigative case management showcases here is a combination of your 1 and 2, which is the data model and reusable components, all coming in play to solve a government use case of investigative case management. So it provides you the ability to have subjects, provides you the ability to have investigation tools, like the investigation tools could be an action plan, could be an interview, evidence. Those are the tools that all come together. So the actual investigative case management is a great showcase of an assembled application which utilizes the government data model as well as the reusable components. Yeah. So now let's talk about what are the benefits. Why should you build with PGP? I think that's a key aspect, right? So there's a lot of these features, and we showed like it is built on top of platform, and there's a lot of these capabilities around models, reusable components, and case type. And what are the key benefits? Why do you have to build it? The first bucket is around accelerating development, right? There is a lot of aspects where you can accelerate your development and do more with your time. I think that's very key, right? Now you've got a little bit more time and you can achieve more, you can advance your scope, advance your developments, you can accelerate your whole development process. And the second aspect where business wants to have ownership on their configurations. So PGP is purely a configuration-oriented solution. A lot of features have a business-friendly configuration. Like I talked about like a checklist or a document intake or an interview template. There's a lot of aspects in PGP which provides a configurable solution. Of course, you will extend these type of things to your foundation layers as well. The next one is around streamlining the process, right? So you want to unify the process like program management, like investigative case management. We have streamlined and showcased how you can unify these processes. So instead of building 50 different case types to support an agency that serves licensing, you can just have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 case types that unifies this into a generic bucket by the virtue of doing program configurations or by virtue of doing a generic investigative case management, but we still have dynamism based on these configurations. Another important aspect of PGP as the biggest benefit that we see in the market is around de-risking the implementation. So PGP has got the best of the reference architecture. We use the best of the UX design patterns, and the best advices we get from platform is what's been adopted. And we have great guardrail scores, as well as it scales for an enterprise solution. It's tested for performance, it's tested for scalability. So it definitely scales for an enterprise solution. So here is a PGP feature catalog. This is something that you can take away in terms of what's the depth of each of these features, right? I think I was talking about components as one of the buckets. So like intake style components, review style components. Another bucket of data models, which is around person, people, place, and things, associations, locations, my cases, all that constructs around data model. Another thing around all the case types that's already pre-built inside PGP, like simple ones like events, and the framework style ones, which are the application request. The complete government case management is around investigation and also time management. Yeah. Some of the recent annotations when we had customer interaction, this is something that I captured in the last 3-4 months of time, like when I interacted with different agencies, different implementations, different sales teams. I think we have definitely got different annotations. This is something I wanted to get to it. So this will help folks to understand where we are coming from, right? So at the vision and mission stage, we need a demo like this, right? This is a great asset to have business kind of bought into the solution quickly, right? So they will have a visualized picture of, oh yeah, this is how it will work. This is how it's going to come together, right? And this could get our MLP a lot sooner. That's another comment. And another one, this is one of the best apps I've dealt with in terms of, this is coming from a business architect who worked on a European Aviation and Safety Administration. Yeah. And now what it means for a government agency. So now you already have a contract and you are starting your implementation. What does it mean for your agency? How do you start the implementation with PGP in the mix, right? So you have Pega platform, and then you have PGP, and on top of it, you are going to build applications. And primarily, you're going to build an enterprise foundation framework depending on the project, and you want to scale it with a lot more reusable components, a lot of assets, and then that you will extend out of PGP, so you will have a center of excellence oriented enterprise foundation framework, on top of which you are going to build a lot of these applications. So the patterns that you want to utilize for the foundation framework is already available inside PGP. Here is an example. Here is a very good example of a customer who utilized PGP and what are the different assets they have brought into the table, right? So here, as we were talking about, here is the Pega platform and the Pega PGP as an application. They are using the entity models. They are using the events, assessments, and action plans. And they also have a bucket where they want to utilize PGP for investigative case management as well. On top of it, they have extended and created a set of reusable components. And you can see their reusable components not only scales just for the business-friendly components, they also have data components, integration components, correspondence components, and things like that, authorization components as well. So these are perfect extensions And these are perfect ones which are kind of coming into play to solve 3 different applications that they have already gone live. Here's another customer example and a very, very similar construct. I think they have also utilized PGP for different pieces. I think they also utilize PGP for entity data management. Like I talked about entities and people, place, and things. That's a crux of PGP. Almost every project that we see deals with people, place, and things. So there is no reason where you might have a deviation from it. So you definitely have a quick start in terms of the data model of it. Yeah, and the relationship management is what I was talking about as associations. So this particular customer have utilized it for associations relating person to person, person to business, or a business to a case, or a person to a facility, person to a vehicle, item. So it's all these relationships are all available, and it's got some visualizations on top of it. So it's a complete picture of all that. Yeah. So another example I want to take, like let's say you are on a task to build a licensing solution today, right? Let's say that is the project that let's say you got a task of Office of Professional Regulations for a particular agency, and you are in a journey where you want to build your license types. And here is the list of business journeys, right? Here is your actual business journey as an agency. These are the different things our agency is doing, right? And now the aspect of what PGP brings to the table, you do analysis, and you kind of do a gap analysis, run through the different features, and come to the table as these are the different pieces of PGP that can come in and solve the problem, right? The ones that are marked in blue and yellow are the ones that are from PGP, where we are talking about these are pieces of PGP that I could utilize in any of these processes, in application intake process, or in a compliance process, or an enforcement process. I could use evidences, or I could use evaluation. And the ones that are marked in yellow are the configurations. So like I tell, like a lot of configurations are inside PGP. You can configure the whole set of programs. You can configure the whole set of policies, eligibilities, public-facing content for a program, and all of that is there inside a program configuration. And of course, there are a bunch of things which are not in PGP today, like schedulers, renewals, compliance checks, right? Payments, integrations, or even channel integration. Some of those things are not in PGP today. These are things that will build that as integrators, you will build these solutions and put together as one set of assets so that you can solve the problem of a licensing solution for Office of Professional Regulations, for example. Yeah. So another aspect, at least we want to bring to the table as partners, we see partners as the folks who are taking our products to the market, and you are having a selling aspect of things as well. So from that aspect, what are the different solution stories from PGP can we talk through for a customer, for a sales engagement, right? Or even for engagements where you are already in play and you want to kind of talk through different demo scenarios, right? These are potential expansions in your existing customer base. And so these are different demo scenarios that we have out of the box. You can definitely talk to your sales folks or AEs or SCs on our side of the teams as well. And these are different PGP solution areas. So the first one I want to give is around program management, a simple grants management example. So this is a story that we have. So these are demo stories, right? These are not totally out of the box, but these are demo stories that are built on top of PGP, right? So it's all built on top of PGP as a demo story that can take it to any customer to do a quick demo. Yeah. So the first one is around program management through the lens of grants. So you want to come in, you want to apply for a program, and kind of go through the full life cycle of what it takes to apply for a grants program. And now the second aspect is around configuring a new program, right? You want to configure as a business government agency, you as a business person, you want to configure your own program. How do I bring a new grants program into the hands of the citizens quickly, right? And can I copy existing programs? If a program is very similar in nature of a previous grants program that we have created, can I quickly bring that into the place? That's what the second scenario talks about. And the third scenario is about change in policy. Let's say there is a change in policy for how you evaluate the grants applications. Or let's say there's a change in policy or you want to add an additional document requirement when somebody comes in and applies for a program, right? If you have aspects like that, that's really what the change in policy kind of goes through. So this is a complete cycle that lets you, as a citizen, you come in and apply for a program, and case reviewer or grant specialist approve the program. Next is around a grant specialist coming in and configuring new programs, ability to configure these programs in a business-friendly fashion, and how you can take it to market pretty quickly, right? The third one is change in policy. It's built for change, and how you can kind of, as a business architect or even as a solution architect, how you can address change in policies pretty quickly. That's what this particular story is telling. And like I said, this is a program management through the lens of grants. You can exactly do a very similar structure through the lens of licensing. You can use the PGP's program management for licensing, for certificates, for immigration, for any regulatory type of programs. Yeah, and here is a list of PGP capabilities that come in play for a grants management journey, right? So in terms of what are the different features that can come in play, like program definition, pre-screening, right? Application request, person entity, right? Anything relevant to person. You want to see, I'm a citizen, I want to see all the programs that I have that has been approved on my list, right? Or I want to see my profile, a 360 view of the person is also there, yeah? And in terms of other things like time management, intake documents, a lot of these features are coming in play to solve a grants management microjourney. Now we'll go into another microjourney, which is around investigative case management. Like I said, investigative case management is already available inside PGP. So what is the stories that you can tell with investigative case management? Of course, you can always think like PGP solves the ICM problem for different type of investigations. It could be criminal investigations. In this scenario, we were talking about fraud, waste, and abuse type of investigation. It could be any other regulatory practices, incidents, and investigations type of thing, or it could be criminal investigation or tax-based investigations as well, or discrimination-oriented investigation. So it caters towards a wide variety of investigation story. So PGP primarily orchestrates with the power of platforms case management, with the power of platforms ability to have attachments, different UX behind it. It kind of navigates the whole investigation and orchestrates the whole investigative case management. And in this particular scenario, the scenario one is stage one is where the complainant is coming and filing a complaint, right? A complaint is synonymous with incident and events inside PGP. And then on certain situations, you go through a review, you have related events, you can associate the events together and then combine it and then kick off an existing investigation or kick off a new investigation. And then the investigation has its own life cycle where the investigator is able to initiate the investigation, carry over all the cases that he's got. He can kind of run through and conduct the investigation. And as part of conducting the investigation, he's got a lot of different tools, right? Like tools like conducting an interview, capturing an evidence, executing an action plan, adding a subject, right? A subject could be a known subject, unknown subject, and associating each of the subjects to real people, subjects to a business, subject to a vehicle, right? So it's got a complete set of picture, and these are the different capabilities that kind of come in play to solve an investigative case management problem. And this would be a very similar exercise. Let's say you have a project that is ongoing for, let's say, an incident management and to investigate a cybersecurity fraud, right, or something like that. It will be a very similar structure. You can bring these different pieces together and assemble it. Of course, you will have extensions of it, and we have followed a very good extension pattern where you can definitely extend each of the features that's available inside PGP to solve and cater towards your specific government agency's needs. Yeah. I'll go to the third scenario. This is the last one. So I think the very first one we saw was around how do you showcase a program management through the lens of grants. The next one was around investigative case management story. The third one is around a build from scratch. Totally, you have all the PGP assets and you are building your own story. In this case, it's an aviation exemptions, right? So let's say it's for federal aviations, and an organization or aircraft company wants to come in and apply for exemptions like flying their drone or some example like that. They want to get through an exemption, right? So there is a process that is kind of have to go through. You have to build that case type, right? You as partners, you as integrators and implementers, you are building a new case type, and you want to configure different parameters, different views in the case type, and you want to have the constituent come in and apply for that exemption. That's the whole story. And this story kind of utilizes all the pieces that we talked earlier from a data model. It uses pieces of the components that is coming in play. The components could be an intake style component because you are applying for an exemption. Components could also be a review style components where you are, as a caseworker, is reviewing the case, is going through evaluations, is going through action plans, right? He's going through any assessments, right? All of that kind of comes in play to solve this exemptions management problem. And if you see, all of the core capabilities could be utilized to solve this problem. In this particular case, we have brought all these small pieces together so that you can solve this problem where you can come in and apply as a citizen or as a business, come in and apply for an exemption. And then you go through the aspect of the evaluation, go through the aspect of checklist, go through the aspect of documents, submissions, go through the aspect of verifying the documents, and eventually approving that exemption case. And now in this scenario, the exemption case is primarily a new case type that you have built together with the pieces of PGP that is offered from a model as well as from a components. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about PGP enablement. We have seen all the features that's available in PGP. We have kind of seen what are the different domain areas within government space can it be utilized, and what are the different storytelling aspects that can come in play as we kind of showcase PGP or as we are trying to go through implementations. And now as partners, I'm a business architect or I'm a system architect. What are my enablement path? Where do I go, right, for my enablement? The first two things is around the Pega Academy courses. So today we have two solid Academy courses, so which is around the PGP core concepts, which is more like a 3 to 4 hours course, which is for more like an overview course that kind of caters towards it, probably 2.5 hours course. I don't think it's 3 to 4 hours. And the second course is around a technical application course. It is probably walking you through the build from scratch from an App Studio perspective so that you can get to feel of these components, right? What are the different components that's utilized and how can I bring in and assemble it? But it also goes through the aspect of how do I extend a person model, right? It also goes through the aspect of how do I extend the entity model. So those aspects are there into the Pega platform technical application. Both these are good set of assets. Of course, on top of it, everyone who has a contract, we definitely, or who are starting a gig, who are kind of going through a sales engagement, we are definitely open for on-demand sessions. That is definitely available on request. It is at no additional cost or anything for the customer or the partner. It is on demand. I think you can request for an overview session. So either our product managers or solution architects from PGP can offer it. So this is a great segue to understand what PGP is. Also, let's say you're starting off projects. I think this is something we have done quite a few times recently. You're starting off a project, you're kicking off a new project. You want to understand how does PGP fit into the stream? How do I get to this? Right? How do I solution with PGP? Type of sessions can also be organized, and we will do some deep dive hands-on session catering towards your kind of a story, right? Let's say you have a story, you have a particular business plan that you want to execute on like release 1, release 2, release 3, or phase 1s, and then we can cater towards those type of sessions. Let's say you are not dealing with investigative case management, but you're dealing with a lot with just people, place, and things, associations, models, and components. We can just focus on that. Or it could be something that you're dealing with complete program management. You are starting a health and human services benefit project, and you want us to come in and talk through and understand how does PGP leverage? Can I leverage PGP to accelerate my project, to stabilize what are the different things that's happening in platform? What are the nuance in terms of patterns? We can talk in different angles. We can talk in angles and go in depth in terms of if you want to talk to LSAs or PSAs and we want to go that level, we can bring our architects who can also talk in that kind of angle. Yeah. Of course, there's a Pega 23 GA documentation. PGP 23 is the official GA release. And in the community pages, you will see the documentation that's available. And primarily, I think the product overview doc is a key doc that gives you a good picture and a holistic picture of all the features that's available in PGP. The implementation guide takes each of the features and shows you if you need to extend something, these are the steps you need to go through. So the implementation guide is a pretty big guide, but the community pages have totally been reorganized, so you don't have to consume it as a big PDF. Of course, you can download it as PDF, but you can also kind of navigate it through the HTMLs and through subcategories. So you're not overwhelmed with this information. So you have like small chunks that you can consume out of the implementation guide. Let's say you are focused on how do I extend a person entity, right? Or how do I utilize this document intake component? Or how do I utilize a nearby locations component? So all these pieces are at a little lower level, so it's easy for folks to consume. The product overview gives a complete picture at this time. And we talked about some of the end-to-end PGP demo stories in terms of the exemptions example or a fraud, waste, abuse investigation story or configuring, applying for a grants program type of story. So there are video links. I have given the video links. I will share this deck to Randy and his team so that you can have these video links, you can play and check it out. And in case if you need live demos, live things, definitely reach out to our partner alliances team, or you can reach out to our SE teams or your AEs that you're working with. So that's definitely a way to go. And each of it has a good set of assets. Yeah, let's talk about PGP roadmap as such, right? What does our roadmap look like? So there are some disclaimers. I think we want to talk about roadmaps with a set of disclaimers. These are not committed in terms of timeframes and capabilities. Primarily, what we are doing as we are talking, we are kind of rebuilding PGP as a good offering on Constellation. There's a new offering on Constellation. Originally, we have a PGP UI kit, and we also have a PGP Team Cosmos oriented versions that's already available today in the 23 release. And now we are offering a new Constellation version as well, with totally re-architected Constellation version. And another aspect that is also coming up is around a lot of these accessibility testing. We have been continuously doing accessibility testing as part of every exercise that we do in PGP. So PGP is one of the apps which is being tested, and we issue VPATs in our websites for accessibility. And we have external vendors who are kind of auditing the apps to kind of certify on 508 compliance as well. Yeah. In addition to that, there is quite a bunch of roadmap, and many of these roadmap items are primarily, if you think about it, as 3 different buckets, very similar to what we talked earlier. It's around data models is one big bucket. Another big bucket is around components and assets. And you will see a lot of things about configuration, like compliance, renewal configuration. Let's say you want to renew a program, or scheduling and calendar, right? And constituent portal is something that we see quite a bit, where we want to build out of the box constituent portal. Yeah, that's possibility. And some more things around employee onboarding. It could be a journey by itself, and anything that we are thinking relevant to DoD or relevant to military. We are trying to think about models that are relevant to things of that nature, so that we can give a better data model that are specific to government orientation. And this is something I wanted to share. It's not GA yet. I think I think this team is the first time. I think you guys are seeing it. Definitely, I think this is the first time we are exposing this one. This is our 24.1 application stack. It's not GA yet. Like I said, 24.1 is coming up pretty soon. We will have future sessions on 24.1. I saw Randy's slide where I think a couple of weeks from now, there is some Pega platforms. What's new on Pega platforms 24.1? So this is a new offering on PGP to give a complete Constellation offering. That is what is coming up, and it's got a lot more capabilities. And we are trying to pull a lot of functionality that we already have and getting to a nature where we will ship our PGP's application is available in Constellation from 24.1. Yeah. A very important aspect that we feel is the feedback and collaboration. I think this is very key for the growth of the product, and we are definitely hungry in terms of understanding what the field does. We are very much getting engaged in each and every account. I think that is a practice that we are trying to cultivate a lot more. To keep it simple, at the same time, to get the crux of it, we made a simple email where if you email it to our feedback.governmentplatform@pega.com, it will come directly to us. I think our team kind of looks at each and every feedback, and we'll go back and forth on some clarifying questions, and we'll probably put it into our backlog, and we'll also kind of go through the roadmap and that type of exercises with the dev team as well as our industry market teams as well. So this is very important as you work through your sales efforts or as you work through your implementations. So if you have any feedback as an idea, or it could be something that's not working, or it could be something that you are thinking it's a new market area, is this something that we want to kind of develop, or it could be a new component, it could be something that does a new data constructs, do let us know. So this is an easy process. So you just have to email feedback@governmentplatform.com. And also it could be even for enablements, any of our documents. It's not necessarily just the product orientation thing. It could be any of our other aspects like that revolves around it. Like it could be any of our enablement tracks or academic courses, anything you have, please let us know. This is a great loop that we can kind of go through. Yeah. So this is another idea I was floating around. I think as we are thinking of future PGP enablement session topics. So today we covered a little bit of a high level. I know it would be great to go and deep dive into each of these data constructs, right? Like we can go deep dive onto entity management. What does a person management mean? How does a view person 360 look inside PGP? What does associations mean? Well, can I have a visualizer behind it? So all of that is baked inside of deep dive sessions. And similarly, any reusable components, right? How can I reuse it in my business construct? How do I adopt it? How do I extend it? Can I build my own, right? I see a lot of customers having an amazing foundation layer, building their own set of reusable components. And we can probably go through a deep dive session just on business reusable components. Similarly, program management, like we can show that the demo is already out there, but we can show things like how to configure a program, how to extend a program, how do I introduce different programs, how do I introduce a benefit program, and how do I introduce a grants program. In a matter of minutes, you can change these applications looking very different to support various domains. We can go feature deep dive on it. Similarly, ICM. And also this is definitely going to be a mandate that we are going to go through on a roadshow with 24.1, what's new in PGP, right? Primarily talking about Constellation, talking about what is available. And we'll also talk about accessibility, compliance, and VPATs. Any more topics, if you guys are thinking specific topics, specific areas that I'm missing or that we are missing, please let us know. I think this would be a great forum for us to kind of collaborate and come together. Yeah, that's my last slide. I'll open the floor for questions. And definitely, as Randy was pointing out, it would be great to see folks at Pega World. And I'll open up for questions right now. And Randy, if there are questions, other stuff, we can probably start up. Yeah.
Thanks, Rams. That's a great job. I really appreciate that. So we have a couple questions that have come in. It looks like two of them are pretty similar. So I'll ask you both, Rams, and you can answer them both. The first variation of this question is, does PGP support Constellation? And then the second variation is, what's the latest release of PGP, and is it available in Theme Cosmos only or Constellation as well?
Yeah, good question. So PGP today, 23 release is available in Theme Cosmos and UIKit. So the next release is definitely offering a Constellation version of many of these capabilities. So it's not all of the capabilities. It is coming up with a Constellation version. So with almost like 40%, 50% of the capabilities.
Great, thanks, Rams. The next question that came in, is the latest PGP version fully 508 compliant? Current agency started using AXE automation tool for checking UI screens for 508 compliance. And the tool is tagging some issues on some of the Pega UI screens. We're saying PGP is 100% compliant, but it wanted to check.
Yeah, so PGP goes through a complete audit of a 508 compliance. And the audit identifies certain areas. I think we do say that we are in compliance completely for many of the areas, but there are some areas where we are partially compliant, right? But again, there are some areas like dashboarding and reporting, and there are areas where customers can do extensions. On top of it, they build their own set of things. It depends on what customers are running their 508 test against. So PGP as a product, we comply, and in some areas we do have partial compliance, but in many areas it's all fully compliance. I think that's our VPAT that kind of showcases it. But I think there's another aspect where we are also pushing platform. Platform is our main gig around this, so where they provide the accessibility based components, right? And we are kind of give these feedback to the platform to make sure we are compliant, and we try to utilize only the designs that are compliant. So I think that's where we are heading as such. And of course, if customers uses PGP and they reuse the patterns, reuse the UX things, they will be at most of the time they are compliant. So except for some areas, I would caution is around reporting dashboard, which are coming from the platform core platform capabilities. I think that's where I think we might have some things that goes back and forth, but those are sorted by the platform teams.
I want to add an additional piece on the 508 compliance. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Amanda Barnes. I'm the director of our government product portfolio here at Pega. I deal a lot with our compliance aspect across all our products in our platform. And as it relates to 508, there's really no such thing as 100% compliance. There is kind of a spectrum of what is and is not compliant and what is and is not acceptable to individual clients, which is why there's no real certification authority related to 508 compliance. So in our VPAT, we do break down what is and is not Pega related as it relates to 508, and you'll have to work with your 508 compliance officer with whichever client you're working with to review whether or not that compliance is going to be appropriate for them. Different levels of compliance excuse me, exist for things like citizens engagement. If you have over 300,000 employees working on specific systems, there's just different tiers of different requirements. So it's going to be something that's unique to each individual client. We are majoritively covered for most 508 items. There might be unique one-off situations. That's just something that your client individually has that is not something that we address. And if it is something that comes up with your client, please make sure you follow the feedback form that Ram spoke about earlier to see if that's something that we can address in the future releases. We do like to hear about what clients' needs are, and the only way to get those requirements are through you guys as our partner. So keep in mind, if that's a discussion that you're having with your clients, feel free to tag us in. We're happy to help have those conversations.
Amanda, thank you. People thought they were going to slide one past Rams, and I didn't know we had our secret weapon, Amanda, ready to jump in to take the hard questions. Rams and I'll take the easy questions. One more that just popped up. Well, actually, this popped up a couple minutes ago, and it might be an Amanda question. Don't go away yet. Is PGP FedRAMP certified yet?
I will come back on to have that conversation. So we are FedRAMP authorized. We do function in PCFG. We make sure that PGP is compatible with our PCFG environment because primarily it is government focused, and our PCFG environment is focused only on US government. Keep in mind that this FedRAMP compliance is related to only the operations inside our cloud. You can use it in the on-prem version, but it would not be FedRAMP compliance. You would have to work with the ISO team with your clients to ensure that they are also configuring it, and you as partners are configuring it to be compliant. It's usually NIST 853, but it is able to be compliant. It might just require a little bit of configuration if you're doing it on-prem. And that is up to high. We are working on the actual authorization for high, but it is compliant with high.
Perfect.
Cool. Yeah.
Rams, we have another question that came in that asks, is Pega's PGP ICM specific to law enforcement, or if not, can it be extended out for their projects as they need it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Good question. So PGP's ICM is not specific to law enforcement. It caters to any type of investigative case management. So you could do fraud-based abuse, you could do discrimination, you could do tax, any type of child welfare. It could be any type of investigative case management. It caters to a wide range of investigations, and it's primarily pulls a lot of investigation tools, and it gives you a great orchestration of it. Plus, it navigates the case lifecycle with all these crux and things around the data constructs. Plus, all these things are coming together for a generic investigation. But said that, it will be up to the partners and the implementers to make it specialized in their layer to make it a law enforcement specific investigative application that they can build, extending our PGP's ICM solutions.
Great. So we have a question it's actually a little bit off track, but Amanda, I'll let you jump on it, although I think we probably could answer it, is what cloud partner is being used for PCFG, which is Pega's Cloud for Government, not to be confused with what we're talking about, Pega Government Platform. But the question did come in asking about Pega Cloud for Government and which cloud partner is being used for that.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Cloud partner, are they asking what our PCFG is on from an infrastructure perspective? And if so, it would be Amazon's GovCloud. We are currently operating in West, and we are working on extending that to be in the East region as well.
Perfect. And then does a solution built in PGP have to run on its own FedRAMP certification, or can Pega's PGP FedRAMP certification cover solutions built within it?
I think they are asking whether or not they individually need to receive an authority to operate with their specific client. And if that is the question, then yes, you will all have to have an individual ATO. That's fundamentally how FedRAMP works. What FedRAMP does is it takes, for example, PGP, we've gone through and documented a specific number of the controls and said, these are the ones that Pega is responsible for when you operate it in PCFG. We have handled all of that. PGP is 100% compliant to FedRAMP High, as well as we have a list of other products available there as well. As part of your build, you will build it out as a client and work as a partner and work with your client's information system security officer, which is your ISO, to go through and address the remaining controls that are specific to your clients. We do have a list of client-specific responsibilities on the FedRAMP marketplace right now. You can go download that package. It is only the moderate package, but we are working on getting the high one up there. You'll see that sometime this year. And you guys are, as a client and partner, responsible for the other portion of those controls, and that is the execution of the actual authority to operate.
Great.
And I don't know if it would be of interest for maybe doing a session with you, Randy, and all of the partners on kind of what an ATO looks like for platform, but I would be happy to do that in the future as well.
I love it. Thanks, Amanda.
But you all have to give Randy feedback if that's what you want.
Correct. Another question, what is the guardrail score of PGP, Pega Government Platform?
Yeah. No, that's a good one. I think I'm sure. So Pega PGP is definitely on a more than 96, 97 on guardrail score. So we are definitely high on the guardrail score. That is part of our release checklist process. So we make sure all the apps that we have, PGP Core App, PGP UIKit or Constellation, anything we do, we make sure that it's definitely more than 95, 96 on our guardrail scores, so that you can be rest assured it's on the best of. In terms of guardrails and scores compliance, we are pretty much on top notch.
Can't beat that. All right. Does PGP inspection support for physical site inspections, for example, safety inspections in hospitals, facilities, as well, apart from fraud investigation?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, right? So PGP's inspection is more generic. You can build, let's say you want to build a hospital inspection solution, right? You would, let's say that we had a project around Bureau of Prison Inspection, for example. The way how we kind of recommended the solution is the prison or the hospital is a facility, and you conduct investigations on the subject of the facility. So you can bring the solution together. I think it's not, you won't see a complete pre-baked solution inside PGP. So PGP is pretty much giving you the facility model, facilities views, 360 views of facilities. It also gives you the case types. It gives you the check inspection tools, inspector tools like evaluation, checklist tools. It gives you document tools where you can assemble all these together and you make a Bureau of Prison inspection management system, right? That's how you kind of bring all these together.
Great. Thank you. That's a great answer. Another question coming in, is it mobile friendly? And are there any offline capabilities baked into PGP in specific case types?
Yeah, it is definitely mobile friendly. So we have tested all of our capabilities to make sure it is using platforms mobile capabilities, right? But we don't ship a mobile app as such. So we don't ship a mobile app with PGP package, but it is tested for mobile responsiveness and all that. But now coming back to the second question on mobile offline, there are use cases like interview, capturing evidences, which are field-oriented use cases, which we have tried it out with a mobile offline capability. So we have tested it out. We have made sure a couple of these use cases like incident intake, interviews, and evidences. These are the three items which are pretty much a mobile offline friendly case types that's available inside PGP.
All right, that's great. All right, so that looks like we've got all of the questions answered. Please, if you have questions that come up, you can email me. I'll make sure you get an answer on that. And so as we wrap up, just a couple other housekeeping things here. So earlier, I know I said that the Pega Partner Hour is going to be delivered on the second Friday of every month, but on March 22nd at 11 a.m., we're going to be having a special edition of Pega Partner Hour with special guest, our Chief Product Officer, Karim Agnul. And Karim is going to present and take questions on Pega's Gen AI blueprint. So watch your inbox for invitation to this incredible event to hear directly from Pega's Chief Product Officer on the latest addition to our industry-leading software. And lastly, as we wrap up, I'd be remiss in not mentioning that today is International Women's Day. Please take a moment to celebrate the women in your organization and your life. Today's call wouldn't have been the same without Amanda. All right, that's everything we have for you on this edition of Pega Partner Hour. Before we go, I want to say it humbles me to know that the best of Pega doesn't always work at Pega. And without our partners, there really is no Pega. So with that, I thank you all for the work that you do. And I thank you for taking part in this edition of Pega Partner Hour. Until we see each other again, sell and be well. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Randy.